Yes.
I would like the first for later.
Yeah. First for you.
Okay, let's call this meeting get into order. It's Tuesday, October 22nd at 10 o'clock. We'll stand for the pledge. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call, please. I'm here.
Commissioner Stacy?
Here.
Commissioner Fuller?
Here.
Okay, we do have Kathy Boer, is that the way you say that? Okay, with us from OSU, and she's gonna give us a little update on what's going on there.
Well,
They're gonna win the game this week is what I want.
I know.
Yeah, I don't want any more of these difficult ones like last week.
Yeah. Let's hope they don't continue that trend. Pick up a little bit here the next couple weeks. But my name's Kathy Boer. I am now serving as the interim county director for OSU Extension here in Seneca County. I am also the county director in Ottawa County. So I'm not sure what the length of time will be as far as my assignment. I think you're aware that Ann Golden, who is the 4-H educator, will be retiring here at the end of the year. And so we will be moving here shortly in order to post that position. Spoke with our regional director yesterday, Jackie Wilkins, and would like to be able to do that hopefully the 1st of December. They're trying to post, prior to that retirement in order for us to move the process a little quicker so we don't sit with a vacancy too long. So I guess I wanted to introduce myself. Things county to county are a little different as far as what maybe be expected from different departments in the county. I do a monthly update with our Ottawa County Commissioners in order for them to know what we're doing in extension work. But I am here to answer any questions that you may have or thoughts as far as staffing or programming. I know Holly being a former 4-H agent once upon a time, and being a part of our organization and is very familiar. I'm not sure, Jeff and Fred, how much you've had contact with, I imagine with some.
Enough to be dangerous.
Enough to be dangerous. So.
Totally ignorant.
Okay.
In many areas.
Okay. Well, I think everyone's familiar with 4-H. That is one of our 4 program areas. Also, we have agriculture and natural resources. And currently there is not an ag educator here in the county. I think your last was Ed Lentz, and Ed left us for Hancock County. And so wasn't sure at any point in time if there would be discussion of moving maybe in the direction of another ag educator. Be open to that discussion. Also, Family Consumer Sciences, and Ruth Ann Musgrave had that position, and she retired here in the last couple of years as also a potential. I guess for me, I am one to like to find out what is the needs of the county. I'm not sure if there's been a needs assessment done here recently. More than likely the health department has on the health issues, but something that maybe we can look at and see if there's a potential for any kind of staffing for family consumer science. But we do plan on moving forward with a 4-H educator, and I do hope that is an okay for us to move forward. I'm also knowing that budgets are handled differently county to county. I know what Mark has submitted here in 2012, which for 2013 funding year, and would like to know if that's the way you would like me to continue to do what he had provided. I have, of course, what I do for Ottawa County as far as paperwork they ask that I submit. I guess I'm going to leave that to you to let me know what it is you would like to see.
Jeff's the one that knows from experience.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not sure what Mark submitted, but we won't know what our estimate of resources is until probably mid-December from the Budget Commission. I don't expect a large increase or a large decrease. I would expect would be similar to what we had in 12, probably in most
Funding,
budget
maybe.
categories. Would be my guess.
Okay.
Now, are you funded through general funds?
Yes.
Because I'm being a newbie. 100% general funds, or is there state funds that,
Well, we do receive state and federal funding as well, and those are actually offsetting any of our educator positions that we have and any benefits they would receive. Now, support staff is completely county funded, and right now you do have just one support staff member in the office. And from what I gather, her intention too is to seek retirement in 2014. When, I don't know. I think she's going to play that by ear because there will be a new 4-H educator in place. So right now that is only, as well as anything a functioning, I'm not sure, do they pay rent for their facility? That would be a part of the county? Okay.
they're not part of that,
FSA.
They're part, yeah.
What do you call that? Maximus, yeah.
No, we don't cost allocate them. It's kind of like our match.
Okay, and then of course any kind of facility costs or just office kind of, running.
How long do you, I guess, maybe you said at the beginning, do you have any idea how long you will be the interim?
No, I do not.
And I know Jackie had said, made the commitment, you had already stated that the 4-H position for sure will be filled. Because
Yeah.
I heard, out in the street, people saying, well, there's a possibility. I said, no, that's not gonna happen. The district director even's committed that they have made that commitment.
Yes, she
across
is. As a
the
matter of fact,
88
I talked
counties.
with her yesterday.
Yeah, yeah. So is it possible that the 4-H educator could be the county chair if they have, is it not an educator position based, which is based on qualifications and so forth?
Correct. It could, the job description can be written with the county director's responsibilities written in. I'm not quite sure how they want to approach that as far as maybe waiting to see candidate pool in order to know whether or not, especially if it's somebody that has come right out of the university and maybe not sure they're ready to have that kind of responsibility added. But we have been hiring educators, 4-H educators, who have also been carrying the county director role.
That's a
Yeah.
good point. That was done before. When Ann first came, she was the director, and then they moved it to Clark Hudson, who was
Yes.
the ag educator
Correct.
director.
But I know typically you probably get more, you might get more applicants with less experience for the 4-H
4-H
position. than you would
educator.
for the
I'm just
position.
looking at what the potential would be. But I'm going to work with the university on whether or not that will be a part of that job description. And we would also extend an invitation to any one of the county commissioners who would like to be a part of that process, hiring process, especially when it comes to interviewing.
Yeah.
We would definitely want representation from.
You could just move from Ottawa County.
Yeah.
Probably.
Nice over here.
Possibly. It's a nice area, I'm not saying it.
Not to
Do we
get
wanna
rumors
make a
going.
commitment now as to, if there want to be a representative? I appreciate what you're saying, is that one of the commissioners
Yes.
on the selection board
Yes.
process. I mean, is this time that,
Yeah.
that we should appoint one of us up here for that? And I would
Good
nominate
question.
you, Holly.
I'm glad to
You
do
have
it.
to do that?
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be fine. That'd be fine. Now, before we all three went to, but that wasn't an interview. That was just the overall meeting.
Yeah, that's an
wasn't
extension advisory
it?
committee.
Yeah,
And I think typically there is a representative from the commissioners that serve as a committee member, but I do understand that all three of you were at the last meeting they had, I think in August.
So if that's your suggestion, that's fine. with
You know,
me.
for the
I like-
selection committee, I mean, if that's what you're asking,
Yes.
and I appreciate that.
I think it's very
request.
important.
We have one of
Yeah,
us,
one of-
that-
Yeah.
Right, good idea.
unless
Our
two of you
funders.
want to be on it.
No, I
Just the
suggest-
selection.
I should also mention though, there is a cost share with the educator, so that first educator costs the county $27,500. And any other educator beyond that is $40,000.
Yeah.
Of course, we can entertain too, shared positions,
I was gonna say,
partnerships.
what's a possibility with the, I mean, it was looking at when I talked to Jackie last, that the neighboring county, Sandusky County, was choosing to do a full-time, not share an agent, an ag agent.
Yes, they've
Because I think
retired.
in our position, not in our financial position, I'm not speaking for that, but in the county's position, it'd be sure nice to have at least a part-time ag agent. But like I said, I don't know if there's anywhere in the other, what the staffing level is in the other surrounding counties to make anything feasible for that.
The possibility exists to do a partnership, a 50-50. Sandusky County did hire full-time, ag educator, and he is starting November 1. So the opportunity may be for family and consumer science. We can also look at any other adjoining counties as a possibility. The only thing that we cannot do is to cross our EERAs, which those are our extension, education, and research areas. And we're kind of sitting on the border of that with the next EERA. So it would have to probably be somebody that's east of us to do that kind of partnership. Wood County says full complement, so that would not probably be an option as well. You know,
What's Huron County have?
Huron County has an ag educator and a 4-H educator. I think 4-H educator, though, may also be, you know, we're going to have some turnover here, especially because of the 2015, I guess, push on the PERS side. So the potential's there, maybe for FCS, for Family and Consumer Science, as a potential there, because they do not have. She retired as well. We lost quite a few Family and Consumer Science educators, including ourselves in Ottawa County, that due to retirement. So, but I'm willing to work with all of you on what would be priority for extension, and the potential of maybe bringing in some of those positions, or bringing them back, whichever you want.
I think the way it's kind of worked in the past is we've given what we thought we could give, and then the committee decided, well, this is going to go to this educator or that educator or office staff or whatever.
And that's what I gathered from sitting down with the staff in the office, is that's really been, I think, typical here, is here's what we can afford to give you, and then it's dispersed, you know, by the staff. Now I'm an advocate of, you know, keeping you aware of how that money is being spent. You know, again, that's being expected on the Ottawa County side, that I do a monthly little fiscal report to know what's coming out of those line items, and I think that's important. That keeps you up to date on where that money is being spent. So I can continue to do that. Usually what I do is I send it to the county administrator, and I surely can continue to do that as we move forward. I feel I'll probably be here with you for at least the first portion of 2014. You know, by the time we do get an educator in and get their feet wet and some mentoring, that'll probably happen, even if they're coming in with a county director role, that there'll probably be that for a while.
Sure.
So.
And I know I RSVP'd for the, I think it's CCAO extension updates, the one in Wood County on November 6th.
Yeah, we're traveling there. I'm going up with our commissioners, so I think that Extension will have a portion of that meeting that day. So Dr. Smith will be giving you an update of our organization and what we're doing as far as moving forward. We're doing a little bit of restructuring. So.
Any more questions? Well, thank you very much for
well,
coming
thank
down.
you. I appreciate having the opportunity to come down and to meet all of you, and look forward to working with you here in the 2014 funding year.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
you.
Kathy.
Okay, what do we do? I've signed the journal. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I think we did roll call, did we?
Yeah.
We did do roll call.
Okay, all right.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as outlined.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? All right, motion carried. Any old business?
I want to bring up the note principal amount. If any discussion, I kind of need to let John know today to get the paperwork in before, so we can have it ready for us by next week. So we have to have the note paid by November. So we currently have $40,000 set aside for the county's principal amount for the note, the current note. And John was just wondering if we were going to, maybe if we had the extra to put down on principal. We already have 40 budgeted and then 4 for interest. If that's the amount you want to stick with, that's fine. That's what we had budgeted. But I figured I'd ask if there was any more towards principal that you wanted to do. Don't have to do.
When's that note mature?
We got to have him the information by November 1st.
It kind of rolls over every year we issue.
Yeah, but I mean, how many years is left on the note? We're paying $40,000 on the principal and $4,000 on the interest.
Yeah, that was.
But we get the interest. We get half
Yes.
the interest.
Yep, we get the interest.
Okay.
Yep, we're paying ourselves.
Yeah, so how many years is, I guess, what's the balance on that?
Before we added the 910,000 for the energy, we were down to, I want to say 380.
So
So
we're
now we're a little
380
back
plus
up.
the 900.
Yep. So we're a little
Now-
over a million.
Weren't we projected to save when they did this 900,000, that we were projected to save how much a year? I thought it was a 5-year
It was a-
payback.
I think it was 7-year payback.
7-year
They originally
payback.
said 5 and then it went
Okay.
to 7.
Yeah.
Is that,
Yeah,
is my memory
yeah.
right on
Yep.
My
And that would be
feeling-
next year's budget that we would adjust that principal amount for that savings.
Yeah, my feeling is this year we keep with what is budgeted. I would suggest next year that what we believe we can save in energy costs, we need to up the payment to coincide with that. So it's kind of a wash, but this year, to go ahead and put more down on it beyond what was budgeted, I think would not be a prudent move for us to make.
that? Okay. Any thoughts from Holly?
No, I'd agree, because I think there's some other things, I know I thought if we talked about the carryover stuff and things that we took, under old business here, that I would looked at and still, could still leave some money in that carryover, which I think we have to. I think we better just stay with what was budgeted.
Okay. Okay,
I'll
that sounds
have-
good to me.
Have John get the paperwork ready for next week.
Okay.
I think you were gonna bring up all the rest of old business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you, Holly, you got something ready to go there?
Yeah, I do. I just, in looking at, I said last week that I wanted to look at a couple of the other things as we talked about, what kind of amounts we looked at for Justice Center and the other things at the end of the year here with what carryover, where we're sitting at the moment. And I know a couple of those things that I looked at was one, the software, the VIP virtual internet software, that is the upgrade, not the.
That was the thing that
The
Julie
demonstrations.
did last.
Yeah, the demonstrations we've seen, and with an update of a different piece, review of some of the other pieces, and a different piece last week. Actually, one additional piece is not of interest to them now, because it adds way too much more to the cost. There's a preliminary cost, but then it requires additional licenses and training, and it wasn't part of the rest of it. So with that just makes it a cost prohibitive. But the overall program and moving forward with that, I'm looking at that, the telephone system, the tractor, these are things that have run in my mind, the tractor that maintenance had asked for, and then the courthouse. I think we could do those kinds of things and still have what I think we need as a carryover figure of about 750,000 left. So those are the things I was looking at, and I told you that I wanted to look at stuff, that's what I was looking at. That VIP program is between 81 to 85,000,
What's the VIP?
that's the software program,
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
how much was that?
81 to 85.
Well, that's quite a bit more than what originally talked about 40.
Several years ago it was 40, but there's new components to it now.
Okay.
The rest of it too is that, and she did look into that, was she talked with Fulton County. They utilize the program and they are implementing parts of these stages that comes with this upgrade that we want to implement here. And they said that, the transition period has been good, the conversion, and there's Julie, so she can add on to this. But she said, what Fulton County, I was just telling what Fulton County had told you, about the use of the software, and they were happy with the segments they've implemented and how it's worked and that kind of stuff. So Fred was just bringing up the fact that it is a great deal more, but we went through all those line item costs yesterday, and that's the new stuff along with the upgrade stuff that you need.
Right, and it was.
Julie, I assume you have an estimate of what can be contributed by non-general revenue accounts? Maybe I'm jumping.
You were ready for that.
Timing is
I
everything.
came over
If
with
you'd have made
Bob.
it at 10 o'clock, you'd be
This
on
must be
board.
Bob
I'm
Fink,
leaving.
right? Is this Bob Fink?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
And
it.
he's
You're
with
like-
Maximus, and so that's a question I'm gonna have for Bob, so
Yeah.
we'll just get him warmed up here.
Get warmed up, huh?
But was that, I was asking Stacy about that earlier today, was if the Maximus is 2 years behind, so the upfront cost would be ours until we can cost allocate what we can cost allocate. But is possibly there a way the departments that we don't cost allocate to can pay their portions,
And also, since, like you say, it's based on 2-year-old historical costs, in this
Yeah.
case, if there's a known cost now, we can build it in
Early?
as soon as we know.
Okay.
So you don't have to wait 2 years.
I like
Timing
to
is
figure if you come up with that 750 carryover, what is that putting aside for the Justice Center?
300. And the tractor 15, the telephone 25 to 30,000, if the deal is still good.
Yeah.
The cost was right around, we're hoping that they still would have that special and some of that hardware, because they did run it again after the last time when we decided we just couldn't make that decision yet, and it went away, but then it did come back, but we're trying to find out if that at all is still on the table.
that's-
But it is at no more than 30 if without the special buy on some of the hardware.
So that's 300, that's 85, that's 15 for the tractor, 30 for the phone system, and what else did you have there?
That's it, those four things.
And that still allows a carryover of
750.
projected about 750?
Yeah.
Were you
I was
taking
basing it on 1.2.
1.2?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
We're
no
at-
adjustments to
based
the
on
revenue.
1.2.
That's before any adjustments.
We're at 1.132 as of the 15th.
Okay,
We're a little bit lower.
yeah. And so I think this is the range, so that's, again, that's just kind of update where my head was at on things before I wanted to make a decision about courthouse set aside. I wanted to make sure, some of these things are kind of, this is living in the now, the phone system especially.
Right, right.
If they can't be answered, that's a problem, so. Yeah. But,
So do we want to make a decision on that courthouse fund today, or do we want to?
I think we move on preparing a resolution to deal with next week, and then we would be ready to roll and.
Might-
That's
Actually, I
where
do
the
want to hear
information
John's, I do
I've
want to hear
asked.
John's information on the Maxima stuff, and,
I'm in a position that we can prepare the resolution for next week.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm okay with that.
My suggestion 2-3 weeks ago was 200.
Uh-huh.
You're suggesting 3, and I don't remember what you suggested.
I would like the 3, based on the studies that we're doing and looking at the long-term plan of a justice center, that 3 would make it, and I actually have a meeting with bond counsel and Julie and I this afternoon, discuss high level, but the long and short of it is we're putting some, if this program is feasible, it's gonna require a commitment of this type of level for us to get a down payment before we ever start anything. So I would be very supportive of that, as long as we're not depleting our carryover. And again, this carryover figure's been thrown around, but I recall as of January 1 last year, was throwing around a figure of about 650,000 as a carryover, so.
Excuse
Go
me.
ahead, go ahead.
I will agree with the other 2 commissioners to the 300, but with the caveat that the rest of the year now, we're gonna have to really pull in our horns when people come in and say, I want this, I want that, I'm gonna need
Yeah.
extra. Because they're all good, nobody comes in with a dumb
Absolutely.
idea, they're all good.
yeah, yeah.
And they're all needed, but we're just gonna have to be prudent, because
Yeah.
you're down to less than a month's carryover there, you're maybe 3 weeks carryover.
Yeah.
And that's a little scary for me.
I said,
What is
I don't want to see
the
the
county?
carryover go below
Julie?
750. If we,
400,000?
Are you just general fund or?
Yeah, just
General fund, just general fund.
I never bring.
you never know what Fred's gonna want.
You have to bring in reams of,
Reams of information.
I should have studied all the reports before.
Payroll's about
About
280,
I was gonna, 250-ish, something like
250.
that, depending.
and then you got the electric bill and all that every month.
okay, so that's a month? Or,
Yeah,
a
payroll
period.
is 2 weeks.
Every 2
is-
weeks.
Is like.
So you've got a
250
month, you've got a little over 4 or 5 weeks then.
Of payroll, just payroll.
Just-
Well,
You're
if
not
you got
talking
250
electric
for
and-
payroll, yeah, but that's
Yeah.
not 100,000
I'll bet it is.
a month.
Electric, gas, utilities, I'll bet.
Utilities,
Yeah.
Utilities, we budget.
Gotta be
what,
close, we budget
7?
900,000 for
Yeah.
utilities
I was gonna say
on an
probably about
annual basis.
700.
on
Nine
maintenance
years, okay,
out
so
of the
that's
year.
80,000 a month.
Insurance,
Yeah.
and then you get regular reoccurring things.
You got roughly a month with the carryover, and I agree that long-term, we need to, I know from a business standpoint, I never felt comfortable until I at least had a couple months that I could breathe, because you never know what comes up there, but,
As long as the board will take my suggestion, when the next person comes in asking for money, why, well, I'll agree to the 300 and we can prepare that resolution. Okay, thank you. Any more, Holly, from old business?
Nope, the rest is new stuff.
Okay. Great. Nicole?
The only thing I have is we got the foreman form CCAO for the nominating committee. Does anybody want to sit on that?
Yeah.
What's my
Just one piece of old business here, old new. The ditch hearing bill that we've tried so hard to get is back in the mix again. The House is introduced in the House. The Senate has had the second hearing on it, and I submitted written testimony for the second hearing. I testified in person 2 other times, so this time I'm just gonna send a written testimony. Maybe it'll help if I don't show up. So it's moving again, but whether it ever gets completely done.
It's such a waste of taxpayers' money to
Yep.
have us travel all this time and go for a 2-minute meeting.
Yep. Okay, that's the end of old business. Maybe before we do new business, if we have Bob and Julie here, we can go ahead and, are you ready for your presentation?
Whenever you're ready, whatever.
Why don't we go ahead, then you don't have to sit through all this extra new business.
Good to hear somebody. Business of the county. My purpose here is to discuss the county's indirect cost allocation plan and historically what it's been used for and the processes that we go through to get to the information that's in the plan. The cost allocation plan has been around for probably 30 years now. I've been with Maximus. Prior to that, it was D&G for 25 of those years. In Ohio, just for knowledge of how much we do this plan in 79 of the 88 counties in Ohio and 72 of the 92 in Indiana. Plus we do it across the country, but Ohio and Indiana are underneath.
How long has Seneca County had this? Because I know when I was running for election, every department I talked with that was not general fund, they all complained about it. Is this something that was just recently implemented in Seneca County, or has this been going on for?
Been going on forever.
As far as the cost plan?
Yes,
It's
yeah,
been
of
around.
allocating the cost to the
It's
different.
been around 25, 30 years.
Okay, this is not something new.
I've been involved with Seneca County as far back as when, I think, Rick was the
Late
first auditor I ran into. Maybe one before Rick, actually.
Probably 80s.
Okay, okay.
And we did not always charge every entity. He's always figured it. We
Right.
did not always try it. A few years ago.
Right, it's
as
been more of
budgets
an
tightened,
initiative in the
we
last
have-
few years.
We have
Okay.
charged
Again,
it more.
non-general fund accounts.
Right.
It's senseless to charge general fund accounts.
Yes.
Correct.
Take it from the left pocket to the right pocket.
Right, but there is reason to put general fund allocations in the plan for a couple of reasons. One, in your budget time, you know, besides the direct costs, what else you're supporting those departments in the way of auditor, treasurer costs, and their space costs in the courthouse or wherever they might be now till, well, the new building is in the plan, so the costs of those are in the plan. Child Support Agency has contracts with the magistrates for services provided for the cost of the hearings. Clerk of courts may have one here, but the information that's in this book helps support the value of that activity. So included in the hourly rate of a magistrate is the cost of space and the cost of the support of the other offices to these offices. And then it's, these activities are claimed to the federal government through the Child Support Agency through the state. So you get 66% of that cost back when you have these 4D contracts. Otherwise, you'd be supporting it 100% out of the general fund. But the cost plan's been around forever. Everybody is familiar with the indirect, especially your job and family service, child support agencies. That was the main focus 20, 30 years ago when this got started. And the government, feds paid for the cost of administration of the programs within the county, as long as there was a cost allocation plan in place. And it has to be done every year, because we base a future billing on a past history. So if we're in here, like we were in here in 12 or 13, it was a 12-based plan for use in 14, but those federal programs have a method to allow for the adjustment of the activity. If it went up or down, if the general fund starts cutting back costs in the auditor's office or treasurer's office or your maintenance department, then you get one way that the costs are going to be a little less. The other is if the federal programs cut their staff, then there's less allocation to them. There's a program in the Job and Family Services, usually under social services, where the state has taken over some of the activity that used to be done at the county level. So again, that cost then decreases when that activity goes down. So the last couple of years, the costs that the county recovered from JFS has decreased slightly for that reason. Now we're starting to, that's passed, all the adjustments are done. So what's happening now, from now going forward, will be more stable again.
Okay.
The method that we go through is just getting the expenses of all the, what we call central service departments. Those are departments that support other county agencies. Get their expenses, interview somebody. We've been around so long, we know all the same people who've been in the auditor's office for years. But somebody's doing bookkeeping, somebody's doing accounting, and then the real estate division. The feds pay for the activity of accounting and payroll. So the budget then gets split between these functions, so many people in payroll and accounting. The line items get allocated across, and then accounting gets allocated based on the numbers of transactions posted to the accounting system. Payroll functions based on the number of people by department. So the larger departments like MRDD, I'm not sure what it's called here,
Just DB now.
and JFS, they take, in an allocation, they take a larger share of that allocation. Then, as far as the building costs, folks here in the commissioner's office, the ladies here track the expenses by all the buildings, from what utilities, the repairs, and that all gets incorporated into a maintenance schedule here in the plan, and then those costs get allocated to departments based on their square footage. Okay. So that's kind of the basics of it. I mean, we get insurance incorporated in here. We allocate across to all departments to show the auditors that we're fairly and equitably allocating costs, that we're not just allocating them to the federal programs that are paying. Kind of the gist of it. If there's specific questions, I'm ready. Did I answer what we were looking for?
I don't have any questions. Either of you have questions?
No, I just clarification on what Holly said, or asked a question, like if we add the phone system, that's a one-time deal here, is can that, because we're always 2 years in arrears, can that be allocated on, at next year's in 2014?
Oh, sure. I mean, I don't know, for example, what is the system like?
Well, it's going into all the general accounts
General
building anyway, so it's our RTA building, so those are all,
Not quite. There's, of course, the REA fund.
Tough.
It's always after your money.
There's the DTAC, there's the DTAC
Told you,
fund.
Bob.
P-tax and, yes. So if the phone system is specific to that building, then it's just gonna get allocated to the number of people in that building. If the cost is 100,000, we're not gonna hit it all 100,000 in 1 year. There's gotta be some useful life to that system. Now, we either match. Yes?
25,000. I said it's way less than that. It's 100,000.
Oh, well, it depends on what you're gonna do with 25,000. I mean,
Yeah.
if your fixed asset level for any kind of reporting purposes is 5,000, then 25's got some useful life. If the auditor's office has some useful life table, we'll follow that. If they don't, then we'll follow what the State Department of Administrative Services puts out for their useful life of different kinds of things.
But the long and short of that would be assessed on next year. That wouldn't have to wait 2 years till that gets
Well,
allocated
I
over.
mean, if we could revise it, we've done the plan for use in 14. If you know what that cost is now and it's for sure, and you're gonna ask me to modify the plan, I can do that. But yes, it will be in the plan. So if you spent money in 13, or you're gonna spend it in 14, not sure where. If you know that number the next time we come around, you know, we'll get it in the plan as soon as we can get it in the plan.
Because they do have us a draft copy. They're basically done for,
Okay.
but like you said, he can update it, but it is done. It's ready for our review and approval.
Same with, what was there, an accounting system or?
The software.
Software.
Yeah,
That's in there too, or that is not?
that would not
is
be, because we haven't expensed it yet. I mean, we
haven't expensed it yet, but if you're under contract.
we haven't approved it to make, yeah, to sign anything yet, so.
So that will hit the next plan.
On both those things, I would rather see the non-generals pay upfront cost and then not cost allocate anything back,
Yeah.
personally.
And you can do that. I mean, if you're gonna bill non-general fund departments, I'm only suggesting that you make sure that you allocate their costs the same as you do everybody else. So that,
So the non-general fund accounts, we could allocate that or invoice them up front, kind
That'll
of.
kind of have to be an agreement
Right.
with whoever is the non-general
And
fund
then what's
account.
left over there, we would not cost allocate, that would just go into the normal.
If they'd agree to pay a fair share for their portion of the software, and then this group pay a fair share, then you wouldn't have to allocate anything.
I like that way
Yeah.
better.
we wanna allocate something in here, because part of that's general fund. And so, if, I don't know what the system is, I'm just gonna throw a number again, 200 grand, you bill out 100 of it to certain funds on some reasonable, equitable basis, as if you were gonna do it to every department, then there's gonna be a piece that's left for the general fund. That will be incorporated in the book, because that's an overhead cost for the auditor, treasurer.
But that would be 2 years until.
No, see, as soon as I know it,
Okay.
I'm willing to put it in.
Then he's saying that could be then used for the JFS reimbursement, would increase JFS reimbursement and
Correct.
so on, because it.
It's a
elevates the
cost of
auditor's
the
cost.
auditor and treasurer's office, commissioner's office.
Yep,
So-
that makes sense.
So what you said, Jeff, can be done. We could
Mm-hmm.
ask them, I mean, if we decide to move with this, do we have to, what if they say they don't wanna do that? I mean, does that throw the wrench in?
Well,
throw
that'd be a
everything out?
negotiation
Throw the
with
baby out with the bathwater?
whoever's
But I
gonna be
assume,
affected by the
Julie,
software.
you've already dealt with the department. Do you have a figure of what they're willing to contribute?
Yeah, we just got the final quote, late last week, and we're looking at it yesterday to compare the modules. The big thing is what modules is the county willing to invest in first, to see what the true cost of the quote, or the project moving forward is.
Is there several modules, as in an accounting module, payroll
Yeah, payroll.
module, HR module, or?
Yeah, there's a self-service module that allows the employees to view their data remotely at home. So it's whether or not those investments can be made.
Well, I would believe that recommendation would come from you, that being the expert you, of what you feel is needed, and come back to the county and say, this is what the cost is gonna be. If it's 80,000, 85,000, whatever, and this is what, back what you and I discussed some months ago, this is what can be contributed from non-general funds. And then, at that point, then we make a decision. I mean, as far as us picking apart, well, you need this module, you need this module, I don't think we're in a position to really, to give that kind of advice. We're dealing more with dollars.
Okay, and I
If it's
appreciate that
unaffordable, then
because-
we're gonna say, hey, Julie, can you come back and
Cut it back.
cut it back, because we just can't afford that much. But for me to come in and tell you what you need and what you don't need, I'd be foolish to try to do
And I
that.
appreciate that because your approach is different than past, so I'm glad of that communication, so.
And I think you got enough when we went over this stuff yesterday with, she had a couple questions she's going back to the software folks with about the payment, and then depending what DJFS wanted to do on that one component that we don't want to do because of cost, as well as you guys didn't feel the value was there,
Yeah, it was replicated in the one system, I thought.
and then that whole time clock interface piece. Because if they're the only ones with time clocks, then we don't need that piece either.
And I know you and I have spoken in the past, is the software company, are they willing to extend this out over a 3-year period? Are they still willing to do that?
Yep, the quote did support, I think it was it 20% down, Holly?
It was 10% on the initial PO, and then 30, 30, 30. So it was over 4 years, 3 years beyond the
We're
10%.
not talking great
Interest
shakes of
free.
money here then.
Well, I just didn't want to see us, I wanted to see us take care of it if we had the money to take care of it versus doing that. So I was gonna have her ask if there'd be a discount if we did it up front.
Oh, well, yeah.
But we don't know the answer to that yet. This is interest-free, this payment plan, if we did the payment plan. But
Yeah,
unless you guys think that's a better way to go, I just thought it was one of those things that just, it's not, yeah.
I hate to spend future money that I don't have.
Right, I'd rather, if we had the money to do it,
You got
let's
it
move
today,
on.
spend
Yeah.
it today than committing future
Committing money
monies
for 4
that
years.
you don't know what the future's gonna bring. I mean,
Yeah.
that's,
Granted, that's, not a lot, once you
yeah,
figure
that's
it
a good
out, but-
point. If there's a discount, they'll allow us for paying up front. Long and short of it is, once it's all said and done, then what is not being allocated to non-general fund accounts, you need to know, because that would then immediately, that would be revised on this year's? In other
The
words, you just,
contract,
Pardon?
if the contract is in place. it
If
is
the
something.
contracts, I'm not gonna revise it in the middle of next year if it takes that long to
Yeah.
get something in place. But if you had something in place before the end of the year, I'd advise.
Okay.
I advocate that we move forward with the phone system and negotiate the best deal in with the software system as quickly as possible to get it on this year.
Okay,
The only thing in relation to that, if you chose the 3-year payment plan, okay, we're gonna allocate the cost based on the useful life of that software, not 3 years,
Okay, yeah.
So if it's got a
So it's gonna be
20-year useful life,
which it's not gonna have, it's
gonna be
probably
3,
gonna
5,
be
7,
5 or 8 years or
yeah.
something.
Yeah,
Nowadays, tech stuff lasts a year, you know?
Yeah.
But generally, it'll probably fall in a 5 or 8 year range.
when will you be in a position to bring a full proposal to the board?
Next we do meet twice next week. It won't be this week.
yes, we do meet twice next week.
We meet twice next week?
Tuesday, Thursday.
Halloween, trick or treat.
My goal is possibly Thursday.
Okay. Okay.
But just to reiterate, the commissioner's thought is that if the non-general funds, you want to see what their cost is up and have them pay that
that
at the
would,
execution of the contract.
that'd be my preference.
Yeah,
Did
and I
not
agree
cost
with that.
allocate.
And why?
Well, they're not gonna cost allocate the part that's paid up front by the non-general fund departments, but there'll still be a piece that will be allocated
From
through
the
the
general
plan
fund.
for the general fund
That'd be my
representation.
preference.
Yeah. And then if it goes over a 3-year plan or upfront, that will be based on if we get a discount to pay upfront.
Okay.
There has to be some sort of savings to pay upfront versus carrying it, I would think. And my feeling would be pay it up front. If there's some sort of discount, again, not spending future monies on,
Right.
And have we thought about what is our vision for determining this cost by department? You know, it shouldn't be who's got the most money in the bank. It should be some equitable basis. If there's an accounting module, it could be by numbers of transactions. If it's a HR module, it'd be the numbers of people. And so and that information we already have from our work papers, we could apply that method to whatever costs are. That will develop a cost by all of the departments, so that if you're looking to find a number.
that makes sense.
I think he just offered to do that for you there,
That's what I'm
Julie.
thinking.
I'm thinking what he said sounds good.
Just
But
break- yeah.
that's why I wanna make sure you follow something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That way you can go back to the departments and say, based on this formula, we feel you should contribute this amount. Versus coming back to them and say, hey, what you gonna pay
Wait,
us?
wouldn't that be your job?
Watch out, he's passing things out.
I will work to get that information together.
And I'll
Appreciate
help you
that.
if you want us to. If you want us to, okay. I'll be the bad guy.
Any other questions for Bob while he's here? This will be the last time we see him for a while.
Thanks for coming.
This will be the last time we see you for a while, so we'll make sure they have any other questions, so you can get them out.
I'm always available by phone.
Okay, okay.
Bob, how about if we have departments, there's some discussion, if departments would leave the existing facility and they would move elsewhere,
Mhm.
non-county departments.
Okay.
They still have to pay for the net, since it's in arrears, they would have to, explain to me, they would stop immediately then.
I mean, we're not asking these departments to pay in 14.
But
It's
the
an
costs are
amount
based on
based on 12.
13.
Or, pardon,
The costs are based on 13 though, right?
cost, right now, this book is based on 12.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's for the purpose of generating an amount to be billed in 14. So when they leave in 13 or 14, it stops.
But to add to that, the services that, if the auditor's still providing services, that portion
Oh,
would
if
still
that,
continue.
yeah, if
portion
they
has to
move.
continue.
Oh, yeah, if they're still
Even though they
receiving,
may not be housed in that, but if still payroll comes through that and
Absolutely.
so forth,
That'll
then there's
still-
still some
Yes.
cost allocation that would have to go to that
Correct.
entity, even if they would leave the
Correct.
county facility.
correct.
Okay, good question. Anything else? All right, thank you very much
Good.
for putting
Nice
that
to see
plan
you
together
folks.
for us. And thank you, Julie, for coming over and being harassed.
No problem.
Thank you.
She's gonna sneak out of here before we talk about anything else.
Before they decide to throw more.
Julie, come prepared next time, please.
I'll bring the books.
You can bring a baseball bat so you can just catch whatever throws it.
Thank you
Thanks.
guys.
Or baseball
Okay,
glove.
we're ready for new business now.
Okay, bill vouchers number 126. I have a resolution authorizing an appropriation adjustment within the general fund, moving $8,000 from precinct employee salaries to regular salary line. This is at the request of the Board of Elections. I have a resolution authorizing the disposal of unneeded, obsolete, or unfit county-owned property. Two 2011 John Deere 6330 tractors on behalf of the Seneca County Engineer. I have a resolution amending section 3.03 employment status of personnel policy manual effective January 1st, 2014. This is to address the 32 hours going down to the 30 hours required by the healthcare reform. So it basically, we just amended our current policy that said full-time employees would be from 32 to 30.
That means they're eligible for insurance if they work only 30 hours?
Yes, because
And that
it
was
used to
part
be
of the-
32, It used to be 32, and Obamacare has moved it to 30. So we have to
Thank
do
you,
it by
sir.
the first of the year. And we have another change that's coming for the look-back period, but we're still working on that. John Croc's working on putting that policy in place for us, so we'll get that. And that don't have to be done again until the first of the year.
And then the departments need to track very carefully people, whether
Yes.
they're on intermittent or seasonal and all this, and make sure they do it right, or
Yep.
we're in hot water if they
Yep.
don't do it
Yeah.
right.
Okay, I have a resolution authorizing amendment number 1 with the Seneca County Agency Transportation Contract on behalf of the Seneca County Department of Job and Family Services. I have resolution to designate the official representation and an alternate for the purpose of voting at the annual meeting of the County Commissioners Association of 2013. And that would be Commissioner Stacy will be our representative. She's anticipating attending. Did want to also bring up that is a board day. So we'll bring that up for discussion after we can. Those are all the resolutions I have.
Okay, is there a motion?
I'll move to accept all the resolutions as presented.
Seconded, but we're gonna discuss the change of the board meeting for that.
Yep.
Dave,
Yes.
okay, we'll do that.
Okay. Any discussion on the resolutions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Zoller,
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy,
Yes.
Commissioner Whitman.
Yes. Okay, I guess it'd be a good time to discuss that right now. What date is that, December?
The board day will be December 10th. It's a Tuesday session.
Where's the 10th?
And you're going
I wrote down
Monday,
the 11th.
Tuesday, right?
Tuesday, it's right, we'd be gone Monday, Tuesday is the
And
conference.
Yep.
and not Wednesday?
Correct, we'd be back Wednesday.
Oh, you're right, it is the 10th, I wrote down, okay.
I find when we just move the board meeting to the 11th of Wednesday there.
That's okay with me. I don't care when we
I
do
don't
it.
think we have anything scheduled.
Anytime that week.
Oh, leadership class that day. I'm
I mean,
in leadership class
If
that
we
day.
keep uniform, it'd be Tuesdays and Thursdays. I mean, you wanna do it?
Have it on the 12th?
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with
We've
that.
got family and children first council at 8:30.
Yeah,
Have you be done?
yeah, I'll be done by then.
Okay, let's do it at 12.
Okay.
All right. Okay, let's see, where do we need, any other new business, Administrator?
Nope.
Okay, Nicole? Rick? Howard?
Yes, just one thing in the state report or State House report, and like issues and stuff from CCAO, they were discussing the House hearings on the Indigent Defense Fund. And it's House Bill 186 and Senate Bill 139 to reform the indigent defense system. A top priority with the County Commissioners Association, but transferring the responsibility of that and bringing some uniformity to it across the state, with those funds coming back, being funded by the state instead of on the backs of the counties. So I think it'd be wise for us to send some letters, as, you know, in support of this legislation, to our representatives. They provided a draft and so forth. I'd like to see us do that. I don't know how much more, I don't know if you guys read it or not, I don't want to reiterate if you had. But again, it puts it back on the county. That they're looking at is 10% each year until it's all back onto the state being responsible. And then that would bring with it some reform and uniformity in terms of what's done, instead of it being based on courtroom by courtroom. You know, like our fees are different. We raised our fees a little bit.
Yeah.
But again, we're still different than other counties. I mean,
So what they're saying is if our indigent council's 500,000 a year, they would take 10% of that out every year. First year ours would be 450, and the next year it'd be 400, and then until it eventually eliminates it completely.
right. I
I'd
think we
be
got
very
ours is about
supportive.
53,000, I think is what it
Pardon?
is. I think ours is about 53,000
Oh, you spent a lot
at the
more than
rate. Was it?
Oh, no,
I
it's
thought that's
400.
what some-
That's just the
Oh,
one.
was that the
That's
increase?
the increase.
That was the increase,
That was
okay,
the
Yeah,
okay.
400,000 was
It
400,000 or
was a
500,000,
$53,000
whatever.
increase.
I'd be very supportive to sign that.
Yeah, so I'd like to see us do, I don't know if we need a resolution or not, but draft some letters and send them to the presenters of these two bills, and then to Representative Dan Schroeder and Senator Burke as our
I think
our
if
people.
we're in agreement, we could just sign the letters, and
Okay.
that would be fine.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. That's all the business I have.
Jill, did you have something for us today?
I just have signatures that I need to get
Okay.
before you, and you've already done resolutions for them, so I thought I'd come over when I know you're here and get them before you
Good
go.
idea. Good idea. Any public comment this morning? All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
10:54.